All right, so here we go.
Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Unsigned Berlin, Season 2. Today we have Pia, also known as RONY, and that's how you pronounce it, right? Hopefully.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
You're doing good.
It seemed, yeah, and it's in all caps too, which is kind of like a common thing.
Thank you for getting
cool.
that. Like,
Yeah.
no one does.
Yeah.
They all write like L.A. and then RONY small. I'm like, I'm not L.A. RONY.
Los Angeles RONY.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, excited to have you. And before we get started, we're just going to play a little snippet of Fine.
Most recent single.
Recent single.
You look fine, just the way you move. When you shine, no need to hide. You look fine.
Yeah, and that was Fine, which is out now on DSPs. Do we want to start with talking about your musical journey a little bit and how you ended up in Berlin, where you've been for the past 5 years?
Well, yeah, 3.5.
3.5, okay, yeah.
It's hard to tell. I was gone a lot, so.
Yeah, okay.
Wow, I don't even know where to start. You mean like actually bringing singles out, or like starting to play piano? And
Yeah, like first instrument and finding out about music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of grew up in a musical home. Like my mom played the piano, my dad played the guitar. I wouldn't say super well, but he had fun doing it. And so at some point it was just like clear that I had to play the piano when I was very young, but I didn't really want to. So I really was bullying my teacher a lot, I think. I was a bad kid.
Oh, no.
I mean, I wasn't super bad, but she would teach me piano and I would be like, la, la, la. Like, I just didn't want to do that. But like looking back, I'm really grateful I did, because now it's such a good tool to have. So yeah, I started playing piano, and I was very shy about singing for a very long time. So
Yeah, I heard you like would play this game with yourself where you would sing badly in public.
yeah.
And in private, you would, like, that's so interesting.
I know, it's so weird. It's so weird. It's just weird. You know?
What was going through your mind when you were doing that?
Yeah, I don't know. I was mostly like when I was with friends, and we were like, you know, how you sing with your friends, some
Little
stupid
competitions
songs,
or
like,
something?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just sing like, I don't know, back then I guess a Rihanna song, or like Katy Perry, whatever was out there. And I don't know, I just felt like I was so insecure about getting this attention, because whenever I would sing right, people would look at me weirdly, and I was like, oh, did I do something wrong? You know, so I just sang wrong and like out of tune, and no one said anything, you know.
Interesting.
And I remember people said like, oh yeah, you can really not sing, and I was like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it was funny to me for some weird reason.
It's interesting though that you wanted to, instead of like, the fear of singing and people saying it was bad just made you go, oh, sing really badly. And be really embarrassed that they won't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense really. I remember one time I sang normal, and then a girl was like, why are you so embarrassed of singing well? Like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. But it went away over the years. Like,
I wonder if it's just like being young thing, and you're just so afraid of not being a part of the group, that anything that will make you like identify you as an individual that makes you special is like scary.
Maybe.
Because you just so want to be a part of everybody else.
yeah, maybe because it makes you stand out in a way, and maybe you don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you want to be like
Blend in.
included and like
exactly.
seen as, you know, just part of the group and not like the individual.
Yeah.
Although I didn't have that problem with like dancing, because I would also dance and people would say, wow, you're a really good dancer. And that was for some reason okay. But like singing,
Interesting.
it took a while.
Because they're both coming from you. Like they're both directly from you. Like, you know, dancing is just moving.
Yeah, but I think with dancing was also mostly like I didn't dance by myself. I danced with other people, and then
So it's
I
like a
felt more
group,
confident.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And singing, it was not like if I would sing in a choir. I remember I was singing in a choir that I felt good.
Yeah.
You know. And then when the teacher would say, "Oh, good Pia," I would feel good. You know, because I was in the choir. But like, yeah, I don't know. It took a while. And then at some point it just got better and better. But it was really, really hard for me. Because I felt like whenever I sing, there was no filter anymore, you know? Like it was just raw me, you know? And I could not fake anything anymore. It was just me. So I guess a lot of times I didn't want to let people that in, you know, in your zone.
Yeah, I have the same thing. I'm super self-conscious about doing it. And it's like, it's very vulnerable.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, when you cover songs, it's a little different, I think. But when you really sing like your own songs or songs that you really, really like, you know, a song that you love and you always listen to, then it does something, you know?
Yeah. It's also like you have an expectation. When you're doing a cover song, you're like, I know it's not going to be the original, so it's fine if it's not that great.
Yeah.
But if it's a song you really love or your own song, your expectation is so much better than your capability to reach it.
Exactly.
Same with like production stuff, where if you look back a year ago and you're like, ugh, this is terrible.
Yeah.
And it's just because your expectations are in a different place.
Yeah, and I feel like you're so critical towards yourself, right? Because other people are like, oh, it's fine. I don't hear it. I don't hear this in this second. And, you know, you can get really, in production too, right? You can get so like, into detail. You're like, oh, I really, this thing bothers me so much. And another person's like, what are you talking about, you know?
Yeah.
Totally.
I have that a lot. So
It's really scary as well. Like with demos and stuff, I'm very happy to send them to like my mom or my sister because they don't realize what's bad about it. But then the guy who cuts my hair is like a real audiophile, like really intense.
Tough.
And when he asks me about music, I'm like, I don't really want to send it. I'm just like, because you'll hear the problems. But
I feel you.
Interesting.
It's good to have those people always like, it's great.
Yeah.
No matter what, they're like, it's great. And you're like, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a little cheating because I saw you in the other podcast. So I'm kind of taking a few
worries.
inspiration things from that. But you mentioned that on some songs, this is kind of in line with the vocal thing. Like on some songs, you choose to explain them, and some songs you're like, no, this is how it is. I'm not going to, elaborate or explain. You know, what's the reasoning behind that? Like, it seems like on some songs, are they just really personal tunes that you just don't feel like sharing?
Mostly.
Like here it is.
Here it is.
Look at it.
That's all you get.
That's all you get.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it also sometimes, it depends really on the song. Like, whenever the song has like a very deep story, then, I feel like I can just share it years later, Like, I mean, in general, when you release a song, you mostly don't drop it right away. Like, you write the song and then you're not going to release it like next week, mostly because there's so many people involved and it's such a process. So a lot of times I think I can never talk about it, and then a few months later I'm like, oh, I can talk about it. But like very general, I don't like getting too much into detail, because I also want to leave this room for interpretation, for like the person to think, that the person thinks they know what it is about, but it's actually not about that. So I like that, like tricking a little bit.
Yeah, it also maybe lets them connect to a song closer, because sometimes I feel like I really like a song and then you find out what it's about and you're like, oh, I don't relate to that at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't do a lot of research about the songs that I like, because I know it's going to disappoint me. So yeah, I have that sometimes I feel like, oh, maybe it's actually a good idea to share, and sometimes I'm like, no, I'm just going to leave it there and do whatever you want with that.
Well, I think on another note, literally, because we're talking about notes, how much of your songwriting is happening on the phone versus on paper?
Oof, that's a good question. I love that.
Because I saw on your Instagram that you have a lot of these like photos of your lyrics on a piece of paper, and I think that's kind of,
old school.
now a little bit rare. Yeah,
I'm very old school.
that's cool.
I do a lot of paper, actually, a lot. Like, I always do paper unless I'm biking. So because, oh God, I could tell you about this, but it's a little far off, but.
No, go for it.
So sometimes I'm biking a lot everywhere, because I hate public transport. I hate the people on it, and I just don't like it. So I try to bike everywhere. And when I bike, sometimes, because of the movement, I get some creative, input. And I'm like, I have these melodies and I have lyrics. And then sometimes I try to record them. And the other day I was doing that and then had an accident because I was recording.
Oh no.
And it's actually funny because on the memo was even my, like, when I screamed, everything is on.
You should put that in the track.
I
as
know,
like a
I was
little
thinking, like-
intro. Like, this is what happens for
It has
art.
to be worth it.
These are the sacrifices I make for you.
It's really
listeners.
funny. Like,
That's hilarious.
a lot of people were like, can you send it to me? And I was like, I kind of feel embarrassed because I
Oh.
was like singing, and then
Oh my god.
But yeah, so that's when I do, like, that's when I actually use my phone.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever I can, I use paper because I just feel like, in general, like, my phone is not really helping my creativity. So I'm trying to, of course, I make recordings with my phone because I'm not a producer and I'm not going on my laptop and be like, okay, woo, and not yet, you know, I'll do that. So I put my phone in flight mode and I try just to record and put it on paper because it just is how I do it. I don't know. I feel more creative. So yeah, I'm still a paper girl, I guess.
That's cool.
It's also less chance to look back with paper. Like on your phone, you can delete something and then it's gone like forever.
Yeah.
And you're not getting those lyrics
Yeah,
back. But on
that's
your
true.
on paper,
That's true.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good thing to like not be able to delete things because you can think like, oh, this sucks. Because, you know, as a songwriter, you're like, this idea is terrible. This next idea.
Yeah.
But then if you
Yeah.
have a solid, unless you burn it, which I think would be a little violent.
Or you
but,
lose it.
Oh, you lose
I'm
it.
good at
Oh,
losing
whoops.
papers.
Also a very uniquely musician songwriter trait.
Yeah.
They're dreamy.
We just lose things.
We have
All the
time,
time.
like paper. Yeah, it's like
And it's so
organization.
hard to throw things away then. Because I have so many random papers because I just write on whatever I find. It's not like, oh, I have a songwriting book and now, you know, I just, so like super messy. And then I'm like, what is this paper? And I'm trying to read what I wrote. And I'm like, oh, do I know those lyrics? Maybe I should keep it. Then you just have so much paper.
Yeah. So you were learning piano and singing badly.
Playing games.
What was
Playing games.
obviously a massive switch from that to taking it really seriously and putting music out for everyone to hear. Was there a moment where you thought, oh, actually, maybe I could do this?
Yeah, I think that was a moment. I mean, there were a few moments, I think. Like one that I mentioned was when, like, the first time I sang in front of two friends, and they were really supportive. And they were both of them are good singers,
Right.
like really, like they do music sometimes. And I'm like, you guys are insane. Like, they're really good. And like when they said that, it was really good for me. But back then I was not ready to sing in front of people. So I think it was actually when I was 19, I went to Florida. Like I left Germany and I was like, I'm never coming back again. That's it. And I think something there happened because I came out of my comfort zone, everything I knew, the people had expectations towards me, and like to just have a good job and study and do the normal life kind of thing. And I never wanted that. And then when I left and I came into a completely different world, and one thing you got to say about America is that they're very positive. I don't know if it's fake or not. I don't know. I'm not here to judge that, but they are really encouraging. You know,
Yeah.
like you tell a person I'm doing music and they're like, oh, that's amazing. Like, you'll make it. In Germany, no one would say that.
You know, they're like, oh, you do music.
Oh, God, you probably
Okay.
don't have money. So I think that was like, for me in general, a big thing too. And that's also when I started singing in front of people and I got a lot of supportive people around me, and they're still my friends now. So I think that was the moment when I decided I'm going to do that. Yeah.
What was the first song you wrote and what was it about?
Oh, God. I wish I could tell you.
Oh, really? I
mean,
remember.
I started writing when I was 12.
Okay.
So I remember, I wrote this very depressing song. I was
Let's
12.
go.
I had a very bad day. I don't even know what it was about. It
How
was,
bad of a day can you have at 12?
oh,
so
God,
well,
girl.
Oh, goodness. I feel like that's before everything bad happens. Like 12 is like the last resort. No? Okay.
That's when it starts.
Oh, it starts at least.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
a little
no.
earlier.
Yeah, I think it was 12 or 13, 12, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I just remember I wrote in German, which I don't do anymore. And it was something about how bad this world is or something. So I don't even know.
Oh,
Yeah, it was not a real song, I think.
so
It was
sad.
just,
Why do you
Yeah.
think you don't write in German anymore?
yeah, That is a good question. And people have been asking me about this, and I just find it. I find it hard to make it sound really well. Like,
Right.
I do like German, and I think there are people who can make it sound really, really well. And there are also people who can not make it sound well, in my opinion. So for me, I like a long time I didn't like it. When I sang German, I didn't like how it sounded, you know.
Yeah.
I was always like, this sounds off. Like, I don't sing in English, you know. And now I'm actually getting more to the point where I'm like, why don't you just drop a song in German? But I have no idea how that would come across, you know.
Yeah.
But sometimes I play with the idea. And I wrote 2 songs in German, like recently, but I just left them on the paper, you know. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So, but I think mostly I feel like I live such an international life. Like, we live in Berlin. Almost all my friends are not German. Like, I have a few German friends, but not that many. So I speak English a lot. I impress myself in English. I feel more comfortable sometimes even. For some reason, sometimes I feel more comfortable talking about hard things in English.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe that's another, like, vulnerable thing. Like, maybe German would be even way more vulnerable now when I would sing in German, you know, because it's my mother tongue. So I just feel more comfortable for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting that it's also kind of an acoustic thing. It sounds like where it's like hard to get the words to sound the way you want to, and English is super flexible.
Yeah.
And like, especially with different accents and stuff, you don't have, I mean, obviously there's accents in Germany, but not on that level like English.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Spanish, on the other end, sounds nice with anything.
It does. I did sing in Spanish a few times, but I just have this accent. Like, I have this R, the German R.
Oh.
And I mean, for them it's cute, but I don't like how it sounds. Like, I don't want to sing like a German in Spanish. So I did help some like Spanish artists now and then. I did some verses for them and stuff, but like a whole song in Spanish, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be a little daunting. But you spent some time in South America.
Yeah,
right?
I
Where?
did.
Where in South America?
I was in Peru,
Wow, nice.
and then I was in Bolivia, in Ecuador, and Chile.
No way. Where in Ecuador?
I was in Quito,
Yeah.
Cuenca.
Yeah, I was in
Guayaquil. You
Cuenca
too?
and Quito and Las
Nice.
Salinas. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. In the beach. It's really, really fun.
Nice.
But Peru is also, I haven't been, I really want to go. But like Inca Cola, did you have some? Did you try the soda?
Of course.
Kind of good.
They
huh?
love it. To be
Yeah.
honest, I was not
Not a fan. It tastes like bubble gum.
Yeah, it
like
does.
bubblegum soda.
But I think I like bubblegum better than Inca Cola.
fair.
What is it? Is it like
It's
kind
like
of like
a
a Coke type?
It looks
golden-
like piss, honestly.
What? Oh, I mean, soda is
It's like
club mate,
mate.
to be fair,
True.
which I love. So let's go. But no, it's like a golden cola. It's in this like, you know what? Yeah, I'll bring some one time because
Yeah, you should try
they
it.
sell it here in some stores.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, it's like golden colored and yeah,
Tastes like
and
bubblegum.
Tastes like bubblegum soda.
Weird.
It's
Weird,
really
yeah.
cool, but weirdly, like I don't know, with Peruvian food, kind of tastes good. At least when I was a kid, I
You like rice.
enjoyed it. Yeah, rice or ceviche too. Like, they had amazing ceviche there.
But ceviche is I think it's very intense. Like, I can eat it now and then, but it's,
Yeah,
I don't know,
of course.
the taste. Raw
Yeah.
fish, I mean,
But it's kind of raw. It's like kind of.
Yeah, cooked
Yeah.
with the lime, right?
yeah, with the lemon.
Yeah, but anyway, sorry. How did that influence you musically? I mean, that was bound
Good
to.
question. To be very honest, when I was in Peru, I had a hard time. Like, it was not as fun. And I didn't have time because I did like some volunteering work for like a children's home. But it was really tough to work there. Like, I did cleaning mostly. That's what I did. I cleaned toilets mostly.
Wow.
And
intense.
it was disgusting. Like, I mean, it's kids from the street living in a house. Of course, they don't know how to be clean and stuff like that. It was not... It was a lot of weird things happening. And I felt very, very exhausted all the time because I didn't have time for music or anything. Like, I was just doing the work and I didn't really have time to see the country either. Unless, like, in the end, when I was done, I did, like, some traveling by myself and did some backpacking, like, 2.5 months. And that was really cool. But, like, the time in Lima was not very great. So I don't think... I didn't have time to do music there, but, like, I think it really developed me as a person. And that also influences your music in the end, because your music is you in a way. So I think it made me question way more than I did before, and make my music probably a little deeper, less superficial maybe, I don't know.
No, yeah. What was your main goal when you went to South America at that time? To do the volunteer work? Is that what? Okay.
I mean, I kind of wanted to be really good at Spanish because I learned Spanish at Duolingo, so it was, you know, it was okay. But I kind of wanted to be really good at Spanish, and I don't know, I just really wanted to be in South America. I just had this thing that I wanted to be there. Like, I just felt like the calling to be in South America. And I don't know, I just thought, like, it was very different than you think, as often in life, right? Expectations and real life, it's a different thing. But I just thought, I guess, like in the children's home, I thought it would be a little more fun than it was. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, and that was, how old were you at that point?
I was 21.
Oh, wow. Okay. 21. So that was after Florida.
Yeah.
Then.
I did a lot of traveling. Like 19 till 23, I was mostly abroad. Like, I came home in summers to work and to leave again. So
intense.
Yeah, I really didn't want to live here. Like, I just
I mean, winters are hard. But that feels like, you know, I feel like sometimes you have to go away from home in order to come back and then maybe go to the big city of wherever you're from. And appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, I've always felt that with Los Angeles. Like, I have to go and then maybe come back to really, you know, enjoy it and appreciate it.
Very true.
But had you, as like a kid, how did you see Berlin, you know, in terms of being an artist and moving there?
I think as a kid, because I grew up in Munich, like close to Munich. I grew up in a town, a lot of forests. So it was nice. So I didn't really, Berlin was not really a thing for me. You know, like I never ever would have thought that I end up here. Yeah. I don't know how long I'll be here. Like, we'll see, you know. But for now, I'm here. And for me, I remember we went twice with my brother. And for me, it was like a big thing, right? Because, like, wow, so many people, like, and so many crazy people. Like, I'm from Munich, like, everyone looks the same. And then you go to Berlin and everyone's so individual. Everyone tries so hard to be different. No worries. And I remember I went with my mom and my brother, and I would play that game because there were so many people. I loved playing games as a kid, as you can tell. So I had this game that I was always trying to get lost, but not really. Like, I know where they are, but they don't know where I am.
Oh my!
Because there were so many. I know, terrible kid,
Your
right?
poor, like, parents. Oh my god.
The thing is, my mom didn't notice for so long. And when she would notice, I would be like, "Here I am. You didn't see me, huh?"
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I did that a lot because there were so many people, and I was just like taking advantage, you know. So I would go like just slowly, like
kind of just
farther.
That is really funny.
Yeah,
such a little kid thing to do. Like, such a kid thing to do.
I had so much fantasy, so many things I did all the time. I think it was really my world the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. But I think artists often have that.
Yeah,
you know, I think that's pretty common.
That's true. So yeah, that was my connection to Berlin. Like, that was it. I mean, I liked it. I remember I felt really like free there when I was a kid. I really liked the vibe, but also scary. It's like kind of that perfect mix of scary,
especially if you're growing up near Munich.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, that's what a big city is.
Exactly. It's
and then
big.
And you come here and you're like, this is Germany?
Yeah,
is this the same country?
For sure.
And I also came in summers, of course. Berlin summer is great. We all know that.
Yes.
So
we're in it pretty much
And then you
now.
get to the winter and you're like,
and you're like, no.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is like kind of more of a comment than a question, but in a little bit of a question too. But you have the song "Crying on the Subway," which you asked like your friends if they had like an experience on the subway.
Yeah,
kind of awesome. It's really funny because like friends of mine had a similar thing about the M10. Like we looked at the M10 as like, if you've cried on the M10, it's like a rite of passage. Because that was...
I've cried on the M10.
Yeah, right? I know, because
I love
now
that.
you're like a Berlin local. Because I've cried on the M10, of course, too. As all of our rite of passage people. Yeah,
All right.
And so I think that's kind of that's such an interesting thing. I just thought it was really cool. And
Thank you.
yeah, like that. What did your friends think of that whole concept too?
I mean, I was surprised actually. I don't even remember how I had this thought. Like, I remember, oh yeah, because I worked this song with like a producer from Israel that I knew from my studies when I lived there. So he would send me the track and I would write on it and the melodies. And at some point I just had this picture of crying on the subway and I was like, oh, this is a good picture. I guess everyone can imagine that. So I put it in. And then he was like, oh, I don't know, because we don't really have subways in Israel. And I was like, well, but we do in Berlin. And like a lot in Germany, I mean. So I just used it. And then I was like, why not asking people? So I asked people and I was really surprised how many people did that. Because I remember once I got on a subway, like on a train, and I saw this guy just crying, like so loud and so intensely. And I was like, it broke my heart. You know, he just cried and he got off and he cried and I cried on the subway and when I cried on the subway I was like, wow, like that's how much, like I don't even care anymore. That's amazing. Because in Munich I always felt like I cared. You know, on the train you don't say anything, you like chill. And like in Berlin I felt like, wow, I can really cry and it's okay.
I'm not the weirdest person.
Yeah, I'm definitely, there's two people more weird than me.
That is very true.
So yeah, so and then I just kept on asking people and I mean, a lot of people, we kind of cheated because a lot of people also cried on the bus and we just had to the subway.
That's like,
Maybe
is
on the
that more or
M10.
less depressing?
I don't know. I hate buses.
Depends which bus.
Depends with, yeah, that's very
Maybe
true.
they cried on the M10 and
I bet, I bet one or two have. It's, you've gotta. Yeah. No,
So
that's really funny.
that was kind of the story.
Nice. That was really cool.
How do you go about songwriting in a situation like that where someone sends you the track and it's just kind of like an open,
Page.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So mostly I start with melodies. Like like it depends, but mostly I start with melodies, and then I try to fit words in, and then I just try to make sense of it. Try to create a storyline, I guess. I mean, it depends when I play on the piano and I write myself. It's a little different. But when like a producer sends me a track and it's like, here, do something, then that's what I usually do.
Yeah. Are those with vowels or like with kind of sounds of words already and then you're really trying to fit words to that?
I mean, I kind of have my baby English, you know, I just do and then I eventually find words would fit the rhythm and stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And with collaborators, do they come to you wanting a songwriting collaboration? Do they come to you wanting a vocalist? Like, when people approach you to work on something, what are they asking for most of the time?
Really depends. I mean, I had people saying like, "Can you sing on that track?" Then I had like starting from scratch a lot of times, like just meeting someone and being like, okay, let's make a song.
See if you guys can work together.
Yeah, and that was very interesting because I feel like that's so different with every person. Like,
so different.
Like also depending a lot if you work with the instrumentalist and you're the main singer, or if it's also a singer and you kind of sing together. It's a very personal thing. I would say songwriting. I feel like you really have to get along because. Yeah, it's hard to make yourself vulnerable and like, okay, what do we sing about if you don't really like the person? You know, don't do it.
Yeah, that's tough if you're like the collaborators.
I mean, I liked everyone till now, so.
Yeah, I was hoping. I was like, I hope we don't have to talk about this. Like that one horror story.
Yes, I think.
But even then, sometimes it clicks really, really nicely and it just works smoothly. And even if you like a person, sometimes it's like, just not going anywhere and it doesn't work as well. Yeah. Also, I feel like it depends a lot on the other person's style, right? Because if one person is, for example, super like into pop, and I don't want to do a pop song, I want to do more R&B, then we're gonna have to find a middle way and
one part is going to be stronger, probably, you know.
Yeah.
So it's ideal to find someone who really likes the same things as you. So I started finding for every track different people where I see like, okay, this person could do that.
Yeah.
This person could do that. So it's a lot of research.
A lot of trial and error, I feel like, as well. Where it's just like you have to be ready for it to not work a lot.
Also true. Yeah. Do you find it difficult when working with different people? Do you find it hard to keep your own sound, you know, unique to you, consistent, or, you know?
Sometimes maybe, yeah.
It might be easy to get pulled in different directions.
Yeah.
Depending on who you work with.
Yeah. That can happen because, I mean, also for me, I like so many things. So I'm like, oh yeah, why don't we make something completely different? And then like, I mean, you can do that, right, as an artist, but at some point you maybe should have like a red line, a little bit like, do you say that, red line?
Yeah, totally.
Like you know, that people know, okay, that is her sound, and then you can verify, of course. But if you do like metal one day and then pop the next day, maybe it's a little confusing for the audience.
Yeah,
I don't know. So yeah, it can definitely happen. But I always had some very sensitive people to work with, so I feel like they could tell when I'm not in it anymore. I'm not good at faking when I don't feel it anymore, then I say it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of communication. Like I feel like the hardest thing in collaborating for me has been to wait on people and to be like, okay, I want to, because I want to do things always very fast, but good things need time.
Yeah.
And then you send, it's a lot of sending, you know, like, do you like that version? Do you like that mix? Do you like that master? Do you like that artwork? It's a lot of communication. So I was really blessed to have people who are good at responding. Because if you have people who don't respond, it's just annoying. Like, nothing's going to happen.
No, I have the same thing where sometimes I'll send a version and then like 10 minutes later I'll be like, why haven't they replied yet? And I'm like, I need to calm down. Other people have lives.
10 minutes, bro.
Because of how, because of how you work, you're like, why don't other people work the same way?
Yeah. Especially when it's your song, you're like, isn't my song the most? No, it's not.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Though that is of the different genres and stuff. One of the cool things about being a songwriter is you can switch between them.
Ooh, yeah.
And if it's not on your own like artist profile on Spotify or whatever, you can still like kind of give songs to other people.
Yeah.
Which is,
I love that. It's amazing.
Which production, it's harder to do that a little bit, I think. Depending on the genres, because there's more like genre specific knowledge.
Yeah.
And as long as you make it, it's always going to sound like there's not a lot of choice in the way it is going to come out, because it's always going to be, you know, your default.
A little bit,
things, you know.
Yeah, like you can't, like songwriting, I feel like it's possible to dip into metal and be like, oh, I just wrote this metal song. I can't publish it, but I can give it to someone who I like. And with production, you can't really dip into metal so much because it's like,
so
people...
different.
It's a whole new skill set you have to learn versus like just playing a role a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
songwriting, you can be like a little bit like an actor.
Yeah.
Totally.
Just, okay, today I act like this, and then for you I act like that, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's a great point. Yeah, people don't really draw those connections between being like playing a role, playing a part, and being a songwriter.
Yeah, although I guess, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people also don't really like writing for other people because they're like, it's my song.
Yeah.
And now this person's going to sing my song. But I mean, that's the game, right? When you want to sell your songwriting, you don't write for yourself.
Yeah.
I mean,
How do you feel about that on the other end, where it's on your own artist profile, but then working with collaborators for songwriting? Do you feel like it really needs to be written by you and be really truthful to you, or do you feel like collaborating and then being like, oh, I wrote the song with this person, which is more fun for you?
I mean, unless I really don't like what the other person is doing, I'm fine. Like, because I feel like it's a collaboration, so it's like two pieces coming together. So my part is going to be me, and his part or her part is going to be hers. Yeah. And unless I really dislike it, I'm going to be cool with that, right? Yeah. And people see that it's not just my song. I mean, I think I had collabs that were a little different to what I would do by myself.
Yeah. Those are really fun, though.
Yeah, and it's fun. You know, you also get a whole new audience through this other person. Same for the other person. They get your audience, so it's cool. you
Yeah.
know.
Totally.
But of course, you have to like what the other person's doing, so it doesn't get like, oh, I just only like my part in the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be a bummer.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of finding collaborators, there's a lot of pressure now for artists to be putting short form video all everywhere. Like even Spotify is bringing out basically TikTok in the app, which sucks.
Yes.
Tell us about your opinion, Sebastian.
do it.
How have you found that process and trying to figure out the whole world of visuals?
Dude, so too much for me. Like, that's all I can say. Like, I feel like, you know, it used to be like, you're a musician, you're doing music, and now you're like, you're a musician, so you're a videographer, you're a
Multimedia artist.
you're an entertainer.
Yes.
You need to be good at social media, you need to be fast to respond, you're a manager, you're everything. And I can't do that, you know? So it's really hard to keep track of what you want to do, you know? Because in the end, you just do, I don't know, reels and stuff like that, and you actually don't really want to do that, or there's people who can do it way better than you. So what I try to do with like visuals is that I get people who are good at it and who actually like doing it. Because I like taking photos, but I'm not necessarily someone who, like, I don't really like filming myself, or not. I'm not like someone who posts selfies every day or stuff like that. Like people can do it, but you know. So I try to take, like, I try to same there. I try to collab in any possible way. So also with visuals, and also what you guys are doing, like podcast. That's super cool. You know, would I do that by myself? Being like, hey guys, today I want to talk about. I wouldn't do that. You know. So it's nice. It's nice to like have people with like good abilities and to exchange. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then, like, what would you say is the main goal? Like the, you know, in the future, you're like, where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself musically?
MTV. No, just kidding.
MTV.
No,
That's a
kidding.
throwback. I was gonna say like
It's like
okay,
so old school.
that's kind of fun.
No. I mean, I kind of want to do my music, and like as all of us, I guess, just make a living out of it and don't worry about your bills, and see that you have a good influence, that you put good things out that you are proud of, and that people appreciate, and do some cool things with it. Like, I mean, my vision was always to make money with music and then support a lot of cool projects in the world, like kind of human aid things. Because I've been to South America, I've been to Africa, and I've seen a lot of fucked up things, as you can imagine. Same in India. I mean, a lot of people with nothing. So I was always thinking, oh, if I would ever have the chance to make money, I could, you know, like just do some human aid things and support like NGOs so already there. Like it's not about like making new NGOs. There's already so many stuff like that. That's what I was thinking. Although there's also like dark side to NGOs. So, but I mean, but I kind of wanted to kind of have this helping through music thing. But I mean, there's so many ways you can help even without making a lot of money. So I mean, I'm trying to look more into that actually, to like do smaller projects. And there's a lot that I need to research on.
And then maybe you'll invest more wisely as well, because if you kind of have no idea and haven't started that research when you maybe didn't have as much funding options for yourself, and then you all of a sudden have all this money and you kind of are blind to make a decision on which organization you want to support. So that's amazing to like start now with projects.
Definitely. And I mean, there's a lot of projects, like I mean, a lot of organizations who kind of want to do that, like do art and human aid together, and do like projects with refugees, or like in the Ukraine even, they did a lot of things. So I think there's a lot of things you can do even without big amounts of money. Exactly. But I mean, still the main goal would be to be able to do through music to help a lot of people, in like, I mean, not just through money but also through your music, right? And to just put some good things out there. Cool. Sounds super classy.
Well, with that,
we're just about 45 minutes, so is there anything you want to promote? There's a single out, or any causes or anything you want to, we can put links in the description.
Shows
or something
as well, performances.
Yes. Anything.
First of all, very cool that you're doing this. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I mean, of course, my old single. You can still listen to that, fine. Then I'm working on a new song now. Like, I'm going to the studio tomorrow. So it's probably going to be out in a few months. A new song called Leaving Me Alone, which sounds super emo, but it's actually not.
Oh, okay.
And then I play at Die Wabe, 14th of June.
Cool.
And yeah, that's the next show I have, I guess. Next show. Next
Cool.
little gig.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very
And,
much.
Yeah.
Thank
Sweet.
you.